What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is my 2001 Ram 3500, and we're taking a pause on the Jeep project right now because I'm waiting on a bunch of parts to show up. But I decided that, I don't know, this Ram, we haven't really touched on it in a while, and I'm thinking it kind of feels like the suspension is being loose, if that makes sense. So I kind of want to give everything a good old once over, see what we find. I already know there is one bushing that is out on the upper control arm on the passenger side. A couple videos ago we did the driver's side, so it stands to reason the other one should have been done at the same time. It wasn't, whatever, it's my bad. So I know for a fact that one's going to be loose, so I'm going to start there, and we're going to kind of just see what we find. I have new shocks that have been ordered. They're not here yet. That'll be another video. I'm pretty sure my shocks are also shot because going over bumps and stuff is a pretty rough ride. I get it's a 3500, but you know, still. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing today, and I just want to take you along for the ride. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, pulling off the driver's side stuff and testing stuff along the way, and if I find anything, I'll show you and you'll let you know. All right, so two tests we just did. This way is testing your steering components, and pretty tight. I don't really see any movement. And this way is more testing your wheel hub and whatnot. And there is a little bit of movement in there, back and forth. So I might have a wheel bearing going out. So we're gonna go ahead and investigate this further. In the meantime, though, I'm gonna go ahead and pop off this guy first, the tire, and kind of proceed and see what we find. The end goal is I'm going to take down this upper control arm off, change out the bushing, and I'm going to check on this wheel bearing just to make sure it's good. So now that the wheel's off, I'm going to go ahead and start. So this back bushing back here is the one that I'm pretty sure is shot, and I got a Moog replacement one. I'm pretty sure that's on its way out too. So we're going to start there. And I do think, like I said, I was saying earlier, I do think my wheel hub might be a little bit messed up, so might be doing that too. But we're gonna go ahead and start with taking off this upper control arm. The reason I went ahead and threw some white paint on here, next up we're going to take off these two big bolts, but I popped some paint on here because this does directly affect the alignment, and I really don't want to get this truck realigned. I just had it aligned a little while ago. Should have done this beforehand. I'm not seeing any major play in this thing. However, doesn't mean there isn't any. I'm just not able to do it by hand. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this out anyway because I have the new bushings. Go ahead and pop it in. So got it out, and you can kind of see our bushings are pretty worn out here. Again, I don't think this is causing any noises or any too much looseness, but it can't hurt, so we're gonna go ahead and knock these out. I haven't really found a good way to knock it out, so I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just take a hammer to the back side of this and see if we can't knock it out that way. I'm using the hydraulic press and freaking press the piece out. So that's obviously not how it's supposed to come out. Got this one out the hammer, but this thing is way more difficult than the other side. Basically, these like inner sleeves like freaking rusted themselves with this bar. So gonna be a fun time working on figuring that out. See what we can do. All right, so finally got it off. You wound up using the press and press hammer, a couple other things, and they came off. That job sucked. The other side was not that bad when I did it a couple years ago. So yeah, it's what it is. So this thing went on like this, which means it goes on like this, and unfortunately, I don't think this is my issue, but I already have it here, so I'm gonna go ahead and go through it. With how tight they were, I don't think that was a problem. They're supposed to, you know, just slip on pretty much like that by hand. It shouldn't be a crazy battle. So I'm gonna grease this up to hopefully keep it, you know, from rusting too much more. Ground off a bunch with the wire wheel, and then we'll go ahead and put it back together. Alright, just got the other one knocked in. Best way that I found to do this is to go ahead and take your cap that fits over it, You're gonna slip it on top. This is a ball joint press. And because you can't fit a press underneath here because of the way this bar is, line it up, smack her in with a sledgehammer. And it's definitely in there pretty good now. Let's pop on our cap that came off the old one. Pop off this guy, 24 millimeter. Go ahead and crank this guy on here, put it back on the truck. We got our upper control arm back in. I'm a little bit annoyed I went ahead and checked the other side when I went. Well, I'll show you guys in a minute. But first, so the upper control arm is in, new bushings are in. Should be good to go there. Definitely got to replace this wheel bearing. I think it's okay to still drive on for a little bit, but I'm gonna order one and probably replace it in the next 2 or 3 days. But you can kind of tell I took the brake, the whole brake assembly off. This way you can kind of hear it, and like spins pretty smoothly. That's not the issue, but I can move it up and down. I don't know if you can hear that. That's not supposed to be there. So yeah, so she's definitely seen better days. And it probably didn't help. Well, honestly, probably did some of this. Back when I first got the truck, I did take it through some water and stuff, and that will eat up bearings faster. But if the seal's broken or anything like that, it'll wash out grease. So either way, though, I'm going to replace this wheel bearing. We're planning on doing new wheels and tires soon, and the last thing I need to do is have a wheel bearing freaking fall off. So I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together on this side. I think that's everything I needed to check out. We'll do shocks when the shocks come in, and yeah. So that's pretty much everything on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and check out the other side and see if we can find anything loose or cracking. All right, I went ahead and popped off this side and started working on getting this ball joint off. And remember when I was talking about that shop a minute ago? Well, I don't know if you heard me, but I was talking about on the alignment issue. Up here is where you adjust alignment. You loosen these bolts, you can slide the whole upper control arm back and forth to adjust your caster camber. I believe it's just camber, sorry, not caster. Caster has something to do with this way. So anyway, I took this truck to get aligned before I started moving over here, just to kind of do it before I did all the towing, ideally to make sure it was good. And they said it was out of camber adjustment. So I know that this is how you adjust the camber, because when I replaced it, same with the other side, you can see a little groove in there, right here. This whole thing can slide forward, and it needed to come out some more to get some proper negative toe on there. As a result, the truck's been pretty much driving with this wheel perfectly straight, and this is why it kind of pissed me off. Obviously, this particular tread's worn down more. It's actually almost down to the warning mark here, your initial warning mark. This is not, this is not, this is not, the other side's not at all. So it's been riding basically slightly more in than it's supposed to, when it's supposed to be not riding like that. So that's very irritating. I tried to get off the upper ball joint, and I think what they were trying to do is somehow maybe loosen this and pull the ball joint forward. I have no clue, but these two nuts are actually stripped. Looks like they have cross-threaded in there put on. Third one's okay, but the first two, absolutely not. So I can't get them off at the moment. I pulled this one off, this one came off, this one I can't get off. It's spinning the bottom half, and it's slightly different design than the other side, because this one's supposed to be the heavy-duty one that I put on first. Before I replaced all of them, I thought it was just this one. What I'm gonna wind up doing is actually getting a cutting wheel in here and just cutting off this bolt, and then I'm gonna take these two off, and I'm gonna get replacement hardware for the bottom. The other one had 3 individual bolts that went up, grade 8. Gonna do the same thing on this side in the future. Probably when the shocks and everything else come in, I'll do it all at once. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the wheels and tires back on, and we'll talk a little bit more about the truck and then end off this video. Alrighty guys, so that's gonna do it for today's video, but that's kind of why it's important to check off, you know, like if you have a feeling, especially with a 20-year-old truck, if you got a feeling there's something up, like go ahead and take the time out, check everything over, give it a once over. You never know what you're gonna find. At this point, this truck has 231,000 miles on it, I think, something like that. So I mean, stuff like this is bound to happen, and that's why I've been putting so much maintenance effort into it, to kind of keep it up and running the way I need it to. And it's something I wanted to give it a good look over before we went towing. There's still more stuff I can check for sure, but I feel pretty confident I know what I need to do in the future now. So we're doing shocks. I actually did order a transmission for this truck already. It's been ordered about 2 weeks ago now. I went with Dynamic Transmissions and their Stage 2 package, which will be rated up to about 450 horsepower, which is plenty. This thing I think makes like 185 or something like that from the factory. And then with the tuner, we might be somewhere in the 200 range, and somewhere the probably in the mid like 400 range, 500 range torque. A little bit much for the stock transmission, but this one that's coming in will be solid. Other upgrades we're doing, we got shocks on the way. Like I said earlier, we're gonna do that wheel bearing, get new bolts for the ball joint there. I'm probably gonna put some washers around the top of that upper control arm, because I feel like it's eating into the metal a little bit, and I don't like that, obviously. And then I haven't revealed these to you guys yet, but I'm gonna show you right now. We actually did get a set of wheels and tires, and these are the wheels. We got some 22.5 semi wheels that are going on. These are AccuRides. Pretty much look identical to the Alcoas except for the way the ovals are cut. The Alcoas apparently are straight, so a lot thicker in here, and it kind of gives it an oval shape. This is a more circle shape. Polished up this area, just a little bit of hand polish, so you can see that this is just dirt, and it'll clean up real nicely. So we went ahead and got 6 of these suckers. Found them for about 900 bucks. Facebook Marketplace seems to be the going average rate. Got a set of wheel spacers over here. These are from Wheels A Million. The only thing that's a little bit funky is the rears are actually, this is about as wide as one wheel. So they're meant for some wheels that have been faced. And what facing means is they take off, this is almost an inch thick. So they take off about a 1/4 inch or about half of this, and that'll help keep everything, get your wheels closer together so they're not sticking out of the truck as much. So if I can get them faced, I will. If not, then I don't think it'll be a huge deal because I'm gonna really crank these down and make sure that, you know, they're even and everything, and just keep an eye on it. But also the guy threw in some lug nuts, so we got all the lug nuts we need, and we got our caps. I wanna do spikes eventually, but for right now, that'll work. So I'm pretty excited to get these things on. We gotta order tires. I'm gonna do a 33 1250, and that's gonna make this truck look outstanding. I cannot wait. But without further, so that's pretty much the truck, its current state and updates. So like I was saying, it just felt a little bit off, and there's a couple more things I do want to check. I want to recheck the last adjustment we did to the valve train. I want to make sure nothing loosened up on me over the couple thousand miles we just drove. I don't think it will, obviously, but just to be safe, I just have a feeling. I just want to check everything, make sure it's good. So that's pretty much what we're waiting on. Once all that stuff gets done, and the transmission specifically, once that shows up, I can start doing towing again, and we need to pick up the Mustang. I need to finish up this Jeep. The head gasket has actually been ordered and everything. Well, it's not ordered. A quick little update. Head gaskets are back on, heads are bolted down, but when I was in the middle of installing it, I found out the, right there, the timing chain tensioner, not the tensioner, but the timing chain guide right here broke. Both sides are busted like that. Same on this one right there. So that's kind of the holdup. I had to order some parts on that. So once that gets done, that's going to kind of finish up everything, and hopefully we can get this Jeep out of here. I can tow that back up to my dad in Michigan, and we also got a couple more parts for it. Got a new tailgate over there because just got a couple more parts for it. Got a new tailgate over here. I got paint. It's going to get painted because this one obviously has some massive rust holes in it. I think what happened was wherever this thing bolts in, I think it started a rust patch, and then it just worked its way through like crazy and ate it. So there's a small rust patch on this one right here, but it doesn't go anywhere near all the way through. So I'm going to grind that out, and we'll put some Bondo on it. And as long as there's no rust, prime it and everything, we'll be good to go there when it gets painted. And then I also bought a new shock absorber while I was at the junkyard. Just went ahead and picked it up real quick because he has one that is blowing out right there. And we're gonna go ahead and just throw that on for now. I realized I could get whole new shocks, but right now, I'm kind of balling on a budget right now, so it is what it is. Other than that though, that's kind of the update with the channel, where everything's at. Obviously the car's not here yet because I'm waiting to get the truck together so I can go get it. And that'll be that. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.